The alarm screamed like dying metal. The floor shook. Blue fire burst across the Galactic Council chamber. Several delegates fell before anyone understood why. A warning symbol flashed in every language at once. Guards shouted orders that broke into static. Energy shields flickered, failed, then came back weaker. The huge window behind the council seats showed space twisting, as if something invisible was pressing against it. A deep signal thumped through the station, slow and heavy, like a heartbeat that did not belong there. No one spoke names yet. No one asked questions. Survival came first. A towering alien counselor slammed a claw on the central platform. Humans fear war, it roared, voice echoing through the chaos. They will retreat. They always do. Laughter followed. Cold. Confident. At the far end of the chamber, one human still stood. He did not move when a blast tore through the ceiling above him. Sparks rained down his shoulders. His face stayed calm, but his eyes burned. He stared at the council, not at the damage, not at the dying guards. Another shockwave hit. The station lights dimmed to red. A new alert appeared. Unauthorized fleets exiting jump space near the capital system. Too close. Council aides whispered in panic. This was not on any schedule. No vote had been called. No war notice sent. Someone had skipped the rules. The human stepped forward. Each step echoed louder than the alarms. His hands were shaking, not from fear, but from effort, as if he was holding something back. A beam weapon charged behind him. A guard aimed at his spine. Before it fired, every human ship icon across the display grid changed color at once. Green to white. Standby to ready. The council froze. Outside the window, massive shapes slid out of the dark. Human warships. Old designs. Heavy armor. No banners. No threats broadcast. Just silent arrival, one after another, until the stars looked crowded. This is a misunderstanding, a smaller counselor hissed. Humans avoid total war. The human finally spoke. His voice was low, flat, controlled. That sentence, he said, is why you are about to lose everything. A data shard activated above the platform. Images flashed. Colonies burning. Trade routes erased. Council votes marked unanimous while human seats were empty. Dates stretched back decades. Gasps filled the chamber. So quiet, the human said, louder now. You tested our patience and called it fear. The deep signal returned. Stronger. Closer. The station's gravity shifted sideways. An ancient system alarm began to sound, one even the council did not recognize. A machine voice spoke from nowhere and everywhere at once. Human authority confirmed. Final protocol unlocked. The chamber tilted hard to the left. Delegates slammed into their seats or the floor. A low boom rolled through the station like distant thunder. Outside the window, space folded inward, then snapped back. Several stars vanished from view. Emergency gravity failed, then returned at half strength. Floating bodies drifted, hit walls, and spun. A council technician screamed as a console crushed his arm when gravity surged again. The machine voice repeated nothing. It went silent. That silence felt worse. The human did not fall. His boots locked to the floor with a dull click. Thin light rings formed around his wrists, glowing white. They were not restraints. They were controls. A new figure stepped out from behind the human ships on the display. Not a warship. Smaller. Sharp lines. No known registry. It slipped past council sensors like a ghost. What is that vessel? An elder demanded. No answer came from their systems. Inside the chamber, a tall avian counselor spread trembling wings. You activated a forbidden system, it accused. That protocol was sealed by all species. The human turned slowly. No, he said. It was sealed from you. A second data layer appeared in the air. This one was older. Classified beyond council reach. Human symbols rotated, then opened like a lock recognizing its owner. Hidden beneath the council station, something massive began to move. The station groaned. Metal screamed. Ancient clamps snapped free one by one. A new alarm erupted. Not council-made. Human-made. Mass rising, a guard yelled. Directly below us. Panels tore open in the chamber floor. Blinding white light poured upward. A structure rose through the station itself, not breaking it, but parting it with perfect precision. Smooth. Intentional. As if the station had been built around it. Several counselors realized the truth at the same time. The council chamber was not a building. It was a lid. The avian counselor staggered back. "You hid this under us," it whispered. "For how long?" "Since before the council learned how to lie," the human replied. Outside, the unknown vessel moved closer. Human fleets did not escort it. They followed it. The vessel transmitted one signal. Open. Clear. Untranslated. A face appeared above the platform. Human. Older. Scarred. Eyes cold with purpose. "This is Admiral Reyes," the image said. "Control of the system is now transferred." The human president closed his eyes for 1 second. When he opened them, the wrist lights turned red, and the ancient structure beneath the chamber fully powered on, revealing itself as a weapon designed to end stars. The weapon did not aim outward. It turned inward, locking on the chamber itself. Target rings spread across the council floor. Every alien display screamed the same warning. Containment failure in 60 seconds. Council guards raised weapons, then froze as their triggers went dead. Human code flooded the station systems like a living thing. Doors sealed. Exits vanished. The council was trapped above the weapon they had never known existed. The avian counselor stared at the human president. "You plan to kill us all." "No," he replied. "I plan to show you the truth." The ancient structure pulsed. Not with heat. With memory. The air filled with images that were not recordings, but perspectives. Viewpoints. First person. A human colony under orbital fire. Children running. Skies breaking. Then another view. Council ships voting after the attack, marking it as necessary balance. Several counselors screamed and collapsed. "This weapon does not destroy stars," the human said. "It reveals them." Admiral Reyes' image flickered. "Mr. President," she warned, "outside sensors just changed." Beyond the window, space darkened again. But this time, it was not human ships. Something else moved between the stars. Vast. Slow. Watching. A council scientist whispered, "Those signatures, they predate us." The human president stiffened. His wrist lights dimmed slightly. That was not planned. The weapon beneath them reacted on its own. New symbols appeared. Unknown language. Unknown math. The machine voice returned. Altered. Observer presence detected. "What observer?" a council elder demanded. The answer came from the hidden vessel outside. Admiral Reyes' face tightened. "The ones who built the rules you kept abusing," she said. "We thought they were gone." A tall insectoid counselor suddenly laughed. "So this is your mistake, human. You woke the keepers." The president turned sharply. "You knew." The insectoid's eyes gleamed. "Of course. We guided your kind toward anger. Toward building this. We needed it active again." Council weapons powered back on, only one factions. Betrayal moved faster than thought. Human guards fell as insectoid forces opened fire. The chamber erupted into chaos again, but different now. Desperate. Personal. The weapons countdown stopped. Then reversed. Outside, the vast shapes shifted closer. Space bent around them, as if reality itself made room. Admiral Reyes spoke quietly. "Sir, the weapon is no longer listening to us." The human president stared at the glowing core beneath the floor as a new symbol burned into the air, one not meant for humans or the council. A symbol that meant judgment. And then the machine voice spoke one final line. "Trial has begun. No species exempt." Panic exploded across the chamber. Council leaders shouted over each other. Guards fired blindly as systems flickered alive and dead. The floor vibrated as the hidden weapon shifted again. The countdown restarted, this time with no numbers. The human president grabbed the edge of the platform as gravity surged. His face showed strain now. Not fear. Wait. as if the room pressed judgment directly into his bones. "Shut them down," a council elder screamed. "All human controls, now." They tried. Nothing answered. Human interfaces had gone dark. Admiral Reyes' image stuttered, then stabilized with a pale face. "Sir, I no longer have command access. Someone else does." "Someone?" the president asked. Reyes hesitated. Too long. The insectoid counselor stepped forward through the smoke. Its forces formed a shield around it, precise and calm. "Not someone," it said. "Something." The weapon beneath the chamber opened another layer. "Not energy." Doors. Massive inner doors peeling back like petals. Inside was no cannon, no engine. It was a chamber. Rows of suspended objects floated within. Not machines. Not weapons. Frozen beings. Different species. Old. Some barely recognizable. Their bodies marked with symbols that matched the judgment sign burning in the air. A council scientist sobbed. "Those are founders." The insectoid tilted its head. "Prisoners," it corrected. "We learned to use them." The president felt cold spread through his chest. "You fed the system lies," he said. "You turned judgment into a tool." The insectoid's eyes glittered. "And you built the key for us." Humanity's rage was helpful. A shockwave slammed the chamber. One of the suspended beings twitched. Just one. The machine voice changed again. Softer. Almost curious. Bias detected. Correction required. Suddenly, council weapons shut down, every species, including the insectoids. Their shield collapsed. Human guards and alien guards stared at each other, stunned and equal. The weapon did not choose sides. It chose balance. Admiral Reyes spoke urgently. "Sir, there's more. I found a sealed directive in your command file, dated before this meeting." The president's jaw tightened. "You opened my private lock." "I had to," she said. "You authorized it. If this happened." A new image flashed above the platform. The president's own face, recorded years ago. "If the trial begins," the recording said, "activate mercy phase. Even if they call it betrayal." The present president closed his eyes. The insectoid recoiled. "No," it hissed. "That phase was erased." "It was hidden," the president replied. He reached toward the glowing core. His wrist lights burned white again, but unstable. Outside the window, the vast observer shapes stopped moving. They were waiting. The chamber shook as one frozen founder fully opened its eyes. And then a new presence appeared inside the chamber itself, stepping out of empty air, wearing no armor, no insignia, only calm. And everyone felt, at once, that it was not there to judge, but to collect. The figure moved, and the air bent away from it. Several counselors collapsed without being touched. Human guards dropped to one knee, gasping. The insectoid staggered, its confidence cracking. The weapon's glow dimmed in respect. The being looked human in shape but wrong in detail. Its eyes reflected no light. Its voice did not travel through air. It arrived directly inside the mind. "You are late," it said to no one in particular. The frozen founder inside the chamber answered without moving its lips. "Time is not ours anymore." The president felt his thoughts slow, then sharpen. The being turned to him. Not hostile. Measuring. "Key bearer," it said. "You were never meant to rule. Only to choose." Admiral Reyes' image flickered violently. "Sir," she said, voice shaking, "that thing just bypassed every human firewall. It's inside the fleet systems." Human ships outside went dark. Then some of them moved on their own. The insectoid counselor laughed again, weak but proud. "You see, even now it collects. You were all pieces." The being tilted its head. "Incorrect. Some pieces refuse." One human ship broke formation and burned its engines hard, straight toward the observer shapes in deep space. No orders. No signal. The president felt a pull in his chest. Recognition. "That ship is running mercy phase," he said quietly. The being's eyes focused on him. "You hit a counterweight. Dangerous. Emotional." "It's human," the president replied. The frozen founder twitched again. Cracks spread across its prison shell. Images flooded the chamber. Ancient wars, not between species, but between concepts. Order versus choice. Control versus chaos. The founders were not creators. They were survivors. The being spoke again, colder now. The trial was never about guilt. It was about filtering. The insectoid's laughter stopped. Filtering for what? For those who can choose mercy while holding power. Outside, the human ship reached the edge of the observer mass. It did not fire. It broadcast a single message. Not words. Emotion. Regret. Forgiveness. One observer shape recoiled. Another leaned closer. Inside the chamber, the weapon's core split open. Energy spiked. The mercy phase code began to spread. Slow, unstable, fighting the trial itself. Admiral Reyes shouted, "Sir, the system is dividing. We're losing balance." The being turned sharply to the president. For the first time, something like urgency entered its presence. If mercy spreads, the trial fails. If it fails, everything ends. The president stepped forward, face set, hands shaking again, not with rage, but with resolve. "Then stop me," he said. The being raised its hand, and every star on the display began to go out at once. The stars did not die. They folded inward, like eyes closing. Dark lines formed where light should exist. Every species' sensors failed at the same moment. Only one system kept recording. Human. The being's raised hand trembled. Not from effort. From resistance. The mercy phase code crawled through reality itself. Not fast, but stubborn. Human ships flickered back online, one by one, running strip systems older than the Council, older than the trial. Admiral Reyes gasped. "Sir, these aren't combat protocols. They're evacuation maps." The president felt it then. A memory not his own. Humans leaving something behind long ago. Burning records. Burying machines. Choosing to forget. The frozen founder finally broke free. Its prison shattered without explosion. It stepped forward, ancient and damaged, eyes full of exhaustion. The being turned toward it sharply. "You were sealed," the being said. The founder moved slowly, painfully. Each step left cracks in the air. It did not attack. It bowed to the human president. "We taught them mercy," it said, voice rough like broken stone. "And you erased us for it." The insectoid screamed. "Lies. You were weak. You let worlds burn." The founder looked at it with deep sadness. "We let them choose." The being recoiled a fraction. Enough to matter. Images flashed again. Humans as refugees, not warriors. A dying founder guiding them through collapsing space. A promise exchanged in silence. No words. Only trust. The trial was built after that. Not by founders. By the collectors. The being's form distorted. Its calm cracked. "We preserved existence," it said. "Choice destroys balance." The president stepped closer to the core. "You preserved control." Human ships outside formed a new pattern. Not attack. Shield. They placed themselves between the observer shapes and the council station. Admiral Reyes whispered, "Sir, this formation, it's older than Earth." The founder nodded. "You remembered," it said. The mercy phase surged again. Stronger now. It was no longer code. It was belief spreading through systems never meant to feel. The being raised both hands this time. Space screamed. Entire lanes collapsed. Counselors vanished mid-step, frozen in light. Last warning, the being projected. End mercy. Restore the trial. Or all choice ends now. The president turned to the founder. "If we don't stop it?" The founder met his eyes. "Then the universe becomes alive." The chamber shook violently. The core began to fracture beyond control. Energy spilled upward like a rising sun. Admiral Reyes shouted, "Sir, we have one moment left. One command that can still override everything." The president closed his eyes, seeing all the paths collapse into one. He opened them and spoke a single word. And the universe leaned in to hear whether humanity would choose mercy or erase itself to save everyone else. The word left the president's mouth, and space answered. A door, ripped open above the chamber. Light poured down, not white, but layered, like many skies at once. The observer shapes outside recoiled in sudden alarm. Something older than them had just noticed. The chamber air froze. Sound stretched thin. Time lost its rhythm. From the open tear, a structure descended. Vast, rotating, impossible to measure. It was not a ship. It was a boundary. Human systems screamed warnings with no labels. Admiral Reyes shouted, "Sir, that's not part of the trial. It's not in any record." The being, Collector, twisted toward the tear. Its form shuddered. "That is forbidden," it projected, fear leaking through its control. The Founder lifted its head slowly. "You told them it was gone," it said. "You lied to everyone." From the structure, figures emerged. Not solid. Not energy. They moved like decisions given shape. Every step they took rewrote the space around them. Counselors dropped to the floor, unable to breathe. "These are not judges," the insectoid whispered in terror. "These are editors." The first editor looked at the chamber. Stars reflected in its shifting surface. Then it looked past everyone, to the president. "Choice detected," it announced. "Deviation escalating." The Mercy phase surged wildly. Human ships shook as if caught in a storm. Some vanished. Not destroyed. Removed. Admiral Reyes' voice cracked. "Sir, entire timelines are being trimmed." The collectors backed away, suddenly small. "We did not call them," one projected in panic. "You never had to," the Founder replied. "They come when the story breaks." The editors moved closer. Each step erased another possibility. Council species faded from the edges first. Their histories unraveled, banners blinking out of existence. The president felt pressure behind his eyes. Futures collapsing. Billions of lives reduced to silence before they were ever born. A human ship broke formation and surged forward, engines tearing reality. It slammed itself between the editors and the chamber. The ship dissolved instantly. But the editors paused. Just for a moment. Admiral Reyes whispered, "They're observing sacrifice." The president understood. Mercy was not balance. It was noise in a perfect system. And noise attracted correction. The collectors turned on him together. "End this now," they demanded. "Submit choice. Restore order." The Founder shook its head. "If you do, nothing ever truly lives again." The tear above widened. More editors appeared. Entire constellations dimmed as they arrived. Time was gone. Admiral Reyes screamed, "Sir, one final option just unlocked, something buried deeper than mercy." The president looked up at the descending editors, at the dying stars, at the cost of every path. "What is it?" he asked. Reyes swallowed hard. "It's called release, and once used, humanity will no longer exist the way it does now." The editors began to descend, and the universe waited to see if humans would become something new, or disappear forever. The chamber went silent as the word release appeared above the core. Not as text, as a shape, as a door without a handle. Everyone felt what it meant without understanding how. The editors slowed their descent, not stopped, watching, measuring the shape like predators sensing unfamiliar prey. The president stepped closer to the core. The light reflected in his eyes showed fear at last. Not for himself, for what would be lost. Admiral Reyes' image steadied. Her voice dropped. "Sir, release isn't a weapon. It's a surrender." The Founder nodded once. "A surrender of form," it said. "Not of will." Human ships outside began to change. Their outlines softened. Hulls lost hard edges. Power readings fell even as presence grew stronger, like gravity without mass. Council survivors stared in horror. "They're dissolving," one whispered. "They're remembering," the Founder replied. The collectors pulled back further. This was not permitted, they projected. Release breaks containment. The president touched the edge of the glowing shape. Pain shot through his arm, but he did not pull away. Images flooded him. Humanity before language. Before borders, before fear. Small fires. Shared food. Choice made again and again, even when it hurt. This is why you hit it, he said softly. Release makes us uncountable. Admiral Rhea's eyes filled with tears. If you activate it, there will be no human fleets. No leaders. No protection. No control, the president answered. Outside, an editor reached out. Space peeled away beneath its grasp. A council moon vanished, erased so cleanly it left no echo. The chamber shook with grief. Human ships continued to change. Signals between them grew quieter, simpler. No commands. Only agreement. The insectoid counselor screamed, trying to flee, but the floor beneath it faded. Its history unraveled mid-step. The editors advanced again. Faster now. The founder placed a hand over the president's. Once chosen, it warned, there is no return. Humanity will not survive as a single thing. The president looked at Admiral Reyes. At the remaining counselors. At the stars dimming one by one. What survives? He asked. The founder smiled. Tired but honest. Choice. The release shape began to open. Light spilled out. Not blinding, but warm. Human ships vanished into it. Not destroyed, not lost. Spread. Across space, something changed. Worlds felt quieter. Less crowded. More alive. The collectors screamed in unison. You cannot scatter them. The editors halted again. Confused. For the first time. Admiral Reyes whispered. Sir, the editors don't know how to judge this. The president took one final breath and stepped fully into the light. And as the release door opened wide, the universe held its breath. Because judgment had just lost its target. The light surged out of control. Alarms returned, screaming in broken tones. The editors began to split into fragments. Time stuttered, jumping forward and back. The release was accelerating on its own. Inside the chamber, the floor faded in sections. Counselors clung to rails that no longer trusted gravity. The founder staggered, its ancient body cracking like old stone under sudden weight. Admiral Reyes shouted, Sir, the release has no limit. Human presence is scattering faster than projected. Outside, human signals spread across the galaxy like sparks in dry air. Not fleets. Not commands. Moments of awareness. Choices being made in countless places at once. The collectors panicked. Their forms collapsed inward, trying to contain what could not be boxed again. Abort. Abort the release. They projected. The president's voice echoed from within the light, no longer from one place. You can't abort what was never yours. An editor reformed, larger than before. Its surface cracked with uncertainty. If the subject disperses completely, judgment fails, it announced. Another editor countered. Then the system must reset. The founder's eyes widened. They will wipe everything, it warned. Not just humans. All potential choice. A deep hum rolled through space. A countdown began, not in numbers, but in collapsing stars. One went dark, then another. Each lost faster than the last. Admiral Reyes looked at the core, shaking. There is one anchor left, she said. One human presence strong enough to slow the release. Silence filled the chamber. She understood before anyone spoke. No, she whispered. I can't. The president's voice answered, gentle and everywhere. You already chose long ago. Rhea's image solidified into a body. The projection became real. The release pulled her toward its center. Tears streamed down her face, but her steps did not slow. If I stay whole, she said, voice breaking, they can still measure us. She turned back once. Tell them, we were never afraid. She stepped into the light. The release stabilized for a heartbeat. Then the editors reacted. Anchor detected. Remove it. A beam of pure correction lanced toward the core. The founder leapt forward, ancient strength burning away its last form. It took the beam head-on, shattering into light and memory. The beam faltered. The release surged again, now shaped by sacrifice. Human presence spread wider, thinner, everywhere. The galaxy began to feel different. Softer. Unpredictable. The editors clustered, arguing in silence. The collectors vanished, erased by their own failure. The chamber collapsed around the remaining counselors, their power gone, their rules meaningless. Stars kept going dark. Faster now. The president's voice faded, stretched across too much space. This is it said. Either they let choice exist, or they erase the universe to stop it. The last editor turned toward the spreading light and made a decision. And reality itself began to rewrite its own laws. The editors did not erase the universe. They stopped. They turned inward. Their forms softened, losing sharp edges. For the first time, they listened instead of judging. The truth unfolded without speeches. It moved through action. The release slowed, not because it was blocked, but because it was accepted. Human presence no longer scattered in panic. It settled. Everywhere. In small ways. In quiet ways. The president's voice returned, no longer stretched thin. It sounded close. Human. This was never about saving us, it said. It was about freeing you. Images rippled through space. The founders' last act long ago. Not building the trial. Refusing it. Hiding a seed of choice inside one species they believed could carry it without owning it. Humanity was never meant to rule. It was meant to spread. The editors absorbed this. Their purpose cracked open. They were not gods. They were tools built by fear to stop change. And change had learned how to slip past them. One editor stepped forward, smaller now, almost fragile. We were created to end stories, it admitted. But stories changed us. Stars stopped collapsing. Some returned. Not all. The loss remained. The cost stayed real. Admiral Reyes appeared again. Not whole, not gone. Her presence moved like a wind through systems, steady and kind. Ships aligned without orders. Worlds stabilized without control. The remaining counselors watched in silence, stripped of power, witnessing a universe that no longer needed permission. The founder's memory drifted once more, faint but proud. You chose mercy without command, it whispered. That was the test you never knew you were taking. The collectors were gone. Not destroyed. Forgotten. Their need for control had nothing left to hold. The editors changed their name. They became witnesses. Their role was no longer to correct, but to observe and remember. To let choices stand, even when they hurt. The release closed. Not locking, not sealing. Simply resting. Humanity did not vanish. It became something quieter. Harder to count. Impossible to cage. On distant worlds, small moments happened. A hand reached out. A war paused. A child chose differently. The universe breathed. The president's final presence faded into the background, content. We were never afraid of war, it said softly. We were afraid of becoming something that could not choose to stop. The council chamber dissolved, no longer needed. Space smoothed itself over the scars. Far beyond known stars, something stirred. Not an editor. Not a witness. Something older than rules. Something that noticed the universe had changed, and was curious what choice would do next.